Hello and welcome everyone. Let's talk about the command line interface. So, BitNinja has a command line interface to alter or query your blacklist, whitelist, and manage the grey list, and many more. You can use this tool to integrate your software with BitNinja, or just use it generally if you prefer to do things from the command line. It's totally up to you. After installation, BitNinja's CLI is instantly accessible. So let's see how it looks. All you have to do is type in BitNinja CLI --help, and then you will get the all of the help information that BitNinja has, and we are also able to see this here. For just the purpose of seeing it better, we will look at here and we will do some examples in the terminal itself. So there are some general management stuff for modules. In this way, all you have to do is always type in BitNinja CLI in front of every command you want to do, and then just follow the instructions. So in this case, we can do BitNinja CLI --module equals, and then you have to put the module name that you want to do, and then all of this will accept the same commands. For example, reload, stop, restart, enable, restart, status, and regenerate, and show config. And we have an explanation for all of this, where reload is the signal given to the module to reload the configurations, stop is to stop the module, enable is to enable it, restart is to restart, of course. Status will display the status of the module. Regenerate will regenerate the configurations, and not every module has this configuration implemented, but most of them do. Disable will simply just disable the module. Show configuration will show its runtime loaded configurations. This is especially helpful when you're debugging stuff. Start will just simply start the command module. Enable will simply enable. It's the alias of enable, by the way. I mean, enabled is the alias of enable, and disabled is the alias of disable. So that's how it works. So let's see one of this in action. Let's say we want to just BitNinja CLI --module equals I don't know, let's just do WAF manager --restart, and then you can see we have successfully restarted. Or we can also just disable it, and if we do a status now, you can see that's currently not enabled. It can turn on or off. The PID of the module and SSL termination is enabled. So let's see if we enable this. The status should change soon, but the module is starting up, so it's not reporting the status yet. So let's wait a little bit. And in the meantime, we can, I don't know, let's just check the configurations for let's just go with SSL terminating. Status is true, enabled, and let's see the show config. Oh yes, this is a long one, but you can see that we are able to check all of the configuration that is currently loaded and it's currently running with. So this command can come in handy if, let's say, you have modified something in the config. Let's say we have modified this to 0, and then it's not doing what you expect it to do. So then you are checking like, hey, what's happening? And if it's not here, if it's not reflected here, then the configuration didn't load in. So you can try doing, for example, this, which really reload the configurations. Or you can also, if you want to make sure, go for the restart which will also do the same. And let's see the status for Verification Firewall Manager, and you can see we have it enabled now, and you can see we have multiple options, and it's all pretty good. Okay, so let's move on to IP management. As from the dashboard, you can also do IP management from the CLI. So you can whitelist, blacklist, graylist, and reload the IP tables, remove rules, and do some CSF stuff. So you can add or remove rules from the CSF. Let's just stick to the simpler ones. Let's just blacklist an IP address. Let's say BitNinja CLI, let's say blacklist, and then all we do is dash dash add equals 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what? Let's just firstly check the IP equals 1.2.3.4. Oh, wait, we've made a mistake. Not a valid blacklist action. All we have, I believe we only have to do check. Oh yes, it's check equals IP. My mistake. So you can see it's not currently on the blacklist, but let's say we want it to be. So we just modify this, and let's say we add, and you can see it has received the command and it has been added to the blacklist. And if we check it now, it's currently on the blacklist, which is superb because we wanted it this way. And if you want to remove an IP address, let's go with del, and we have removed it from the blacklist successfully. Also, there is also your option to add a comment, which works with add. For example, let's go with, oops, like this, comment equals bad actor, and then we have added it with the comment of bad actor. And if we log into our dashboard, we will also see this reflected there, but we will talk about the CLI first. So we can also reload the IP tables if necessary, remove some rules if necessary, but you should only use this when the agent exited abnormally. So let's say the agent crashed for some reason on the machine and you have some stuck rules, you can flush them out with this if you want to make sure that they are removed completely. You can also manage the Verification Firewall stuff from here, and let's see what we can do. So we can of course enable or disable the module. We can check its status, which we already did. We can also check the status for the SSL terminating, because these two modules are really closely related, so they are listed here as well. And we can also create honeypot URL, which will add the web URI to local virtual honeypot URI list. This list file will be created at the user rules, user mobile URIs data. Example use case. This is what we need. You have found a web shell under, let's say, public HTML uploads image shell.php. And if you add this, every post request will be called by the Verification Firewall if enabled. So let's say we will just add this, and oh, my mistake. And let's go with create honeypot URL equals, let's go with images folder. Let's just try this. and it have created the with the honeypot as well. So we can generate honeypots from here. We can enable the web application firewall manager on an IP address. We can set it to use the transparent mode for the transparent proxy feature, which is enabled by default. But if you want to switch something in the runtime, you can do that. You can also remove all honeypots, which let's just do that. So let's go and yep, and then all we do is reload the web application firewall module manager again, and we have removed all of the honeypots we have generated. We can also turn on the DNet instead of the transparent mode, and also use SSL and check redirections. So this is pretty good to set up web application firewall, but you are unable to check the, let's say, the rules or manage the rules from here, because of course that's we have pretty large number of rules, so it could be quite tedious. Site protection is a different module than server protection, and we are not covering it in this part, but let's just go what the CLI can do for it. It can uninstall this extension, install the extension, reinstall it if necessary. You can also install the WordPress plugin for it with the domain name, and you can also uninstall the WordPress plugin with the domain name. So basically it's just a different product from BitNinja, and this is usually meant for resellers, and if you want to become a reseller, it's a pretty good idea to check this one out. So let's go to the exciting ones, which is malware management. Of course, we have seen how we can add or disable signatures from the dashboard, and let's check the status and stuff. But let's see what we can do from the CLI. So we have the module for malware detection, which can be enabled or disabled. Of course, we can check its status. So let's do that. Firstly, make sure we have everything running. And yep, it's enabled, it's running, everything's up to good. So let's see, malware detection whitelist. We can whitelist a file. So let's do that. Let's try this. BitNinja CLI module equals malware detection dash list file equals let's say root whitelisted.php, but this file doesn't exist, so let's create this. Of course, we are already in the root folder, but just for good measures, we have created the file, and now promise failed, and the exception code. Now file is empty, of course, because we haven't done anything to this file. So let's just go with testing 1, 2, 3, and it should work now. Yep. So we have whitelisted this file, and so it will never be caught. This is a good way to make sure that if you have a file that you really don't want to be caught, you can add this here, and it will guarantee that it never gets a false positive, even though you might have published a signature that is catching it, that would catch it otherwise. This makes sure that this cannot happen. We can also list the signatures, and so however, we do not have any on our machine, if I'm not mistaken, but let's check. BitNinja CLI and this, and let's see. it didn't bring up anything because possibly we don't have any, but we will come back to this later. But this will list our user level signatures, for example, and many more, as you can see here. So we can also analyze a PHP file with the Sandbox Scanner, and it's pretty simple. We can just do this. Let's say going with this BitNinja CLI, and then what we do is slash root slash whitelisted.php, and we can see that we have analyzed it, and the analysis result is here. Analyzer name, basically it says it's not malicious, not malicious, not malicious, not malicious, not malicious, because of course it only contains testing 1, 2, 3, 4. But we have tried to check it. So you can see some general data about this, how it worked, what it did, and you can see some more. Is it malicious? False. Is it obfuscated? False. Stop by die statement? False. And stop by whitelist expression? False. And we have run it 2 times to check. So it's pretty amazing to do this and check if you suspect a file could be malicious. This is a good way to help yourself out, because this will tell you if a file has been found malicious by the Sandbox Scanner, which will of course emulate a real PHP environment, and it will check if it tries to do something funny or not, and this will make sure that you can catch it if you are if you would like to do that. And you can also publish signature with a signature ID if you have one. This is good if you have added a malware as a file as a malware, because you can create a signature with this. So let's see how you can do that. Oops, and just go with BitNinja CLI, create signature, and --path equals root. Oops, it should be path equals. Okay. Would you like to view? And we just proceed. And no. Let's just exit. Okay, so we haven't published it. And now we should be able to see this if we do BitNinja CLI. Yep, you can see it's blacklisting, validating, and user level. So from now on, we know its ID. So if we want to publish this signature, we can simply do this and go BitNinja CLI and ID equals this. So if we do this, it has updated successfully. And if we list it again, we should see, because currently you can see the state is validating, and it should, oh, it's already published. So that's why it's not showing up for us. But let's discard this ID because it's not malicious actually. So let's just try with this, and we are just discarding it. Oops. Yes, we have forgot to add the BitNinja CLI in front. So like this, and it's updated successfully. And if we list the signatures now, we should be able to see discarded. Or it doesn't want to show us, but we will figure this out later. So you can also restore signatures and just start a scan. And you can manually start a malware detection scan. And you can also do a dry run, which will mean it's not quarantining, it's just scanning the files, and it will not quarantine or clean. It will just mark them as possibly malicious. So let's just start a new malware scan. Let's do this, and I don't know, let's just go per home. Yep, and we can monitor it if we want. And so there are plenty of other stuff you could do here. So let's move on to the next ones. We can also start a new malware scan for the SQL with the SQL scanner database scanner. And what it will do is it will scan the databases and check for possible malware in the database. It only has a few options right now, but it will of course get bigger and bigger as time goes on. We can also do some stuff with the defense robot. As you can see, we can collect pass to file. What it will do is collect defense robot correlations information about a given file, and the file must exist, and its seed time should not be older than a day. So let's see what it does. Oops, we forgot to add BitNinja CLI and root whitelisted.php. Oh, another instance is already running, of course, because it's still checking the file. So we can also add extra options for the trusted proxy, but it's frankly just much easier to do this from the dashboard. But you could do that if you would like to automate it, for example, as if you have your own proxy which changes some IPs from time to time, you can automate it, and you can do BitNinja CLI -- module equals trusted proxy, and just add equals, oops, we do not need the module, it's just like this, or not. We have made a mistake. It should look like this, but it certainly doesn't work like this. Let's see if we can find the trusted proxy. Nope, we cannot find the trusted proxy module. So this option might have gotten removed, but we will look into it later on. We can also check sense logs, and we can just check the log file for a given value. And this command is useful when sense log is not activated or it haven't found the given log file yet. You can also use the type, which should equal to Apache access, Nginx access, rather any sections found in the config.ini. Default is Apache access. You can also do Sandbox Scanner, which will start a scan for a certain file, but we have also already seen this in the malware detection part, so we don't have to do this again. We can also check the system for update, which we will check soon. And we can also enable the backup module. This module is currently in beta and it's not enabled from the dashboard. It can be enabled from here, and you can start a backup for a file, but this is strictly only used for website cleaning, which is a feature that BitNinja offers, and it's not for normal backup in the sense of backup. And we also have some miscellaneous, which you can check license info, server info, count users, version, status all, dump all configs. So let's just try some BitNinja CLI and just go with count users. And we can see that we have 18 system users and 1 non-system user. This is useful if you want to check your pricing bracket, why do you fall into one or the other. It's good for this. Or we can also check the version, which goes a little something like this. Version, and you can see it's the 2.36.0-1. We can also do this, which will go and tell us all of the status for the modules. This is also especially handy if you are trying to debug something. And let's see if we can update the agent. So let's go with this and just CLI -- update. And the self-update process has started, and it should do its magic in a little bit. So let's wait for it and come back. Yep, it finished. So it should be up to date, and let's see. Yep, we can see we have jumped a version number, so we have indeed updated our agent. So we have covered all of the necessary stuff, but of course there are many more that we haven't covered because it would take ages to do, and I wouldn't want to bore you with this. But if you would like to, you can go on and try any of this and figure out what it does and how it looks, how it feels, because we like to enable you to do whatever you wish, basically, and we would like this to have you automate any of this if you want to, and this is certainly a very good way for that, because you can automate blacklist delistings or graylist delistings, or I'm just adding some if you would like, if you have your own script for something. It's certainly a good idea to do that. So I hope you've learned something, and I really hope that you will find this useful in the future when you are testing BitNinja yourself. So see you in the next episode.